Oh, fuck.
Well,
All right.
get a couple ass smackers of the vaporunies and
Hit my nose clamps. Oh, that's almost pleasant.
oh yeah.
Never mind. Not anymore.
Can you wash slippers?
Welcome to the Trashcats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today we're going to talk about music from a personal perspective. But first, Steven, how was your week?
Man, this is gonna be so much fun talking about music.
Right.
My week's just okay. Just grinding on art school podcast. My birthday's coming up, so I ordered myself a typewriter. And
Fuck yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm gonna be typing away, man.
Go full Stephen King on them.
Yeah, dude. So the mechanical manual typewriters, they get expensive as shit with shipping. So I ended up getting like an 80s electronic manual typewriter. So it's like a keyboard, but it still slams the ink on the paper, and it looks so much fun. So excited about that. Well, Sarah was in that car wreck, which has been a bummer. She's okay, but her car was totaled. So it's been kind of a hectic week.
I happened to check my Instagram like 4 minutes after she posted that day, and I was like, oh fuck.
She's so ridiculous because she posts all these happy pictures, and then she posts her car total bad in the middle of an intersection with no explanation of what happened. Yeah. Like, you can't do that. Like, she's like, I think it's funny.
It kind of was.
It is.
I get it.
But damn, make people worry. I did remember in our the Diesel Boy episode. Mm-hmm. Remember the flipping the backpacks inside out?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the term, and I called it pickling. I spoke to Sam today, and he said to say hi, and that it is actually called nuggeting.
Nuggeting.
Yeah, nuggeting.
Okay. What's up, Sam? We always appreciate your input.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. So it's just kind of a normal week, getting ready to take my certification exam shit. So it's just been busy, but doing all right. What about you?
Well, I'm unemployed for the last week until this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is actually cool. The restaurant that I worked with did close down, which was unfortunate, but we've been getting that partial unemployment anyways lately. So, well, I'm okay for the moment, and it happened to be just in time with my dad being in town anyway. So I've been spending time with him. We went on a bike ride today, kicked ass.
Yeah.
He kicked my ass for sure. And he has his own cat. It's she's about to be a year old, versus my cat, who's going on 3 actually. Her birthday is your birthday's next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, 14th. Wednesday.
14th.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Okay, that's right. My cat's is the day afterward.
Aw.
Yeah, so she's going to be 3 next week.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah, so but they always kind of clashed a little bit, because it's bringing a new cat into the situation. But I feel like she's getting a lot better about it this time.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if just because she's getting older and she realizes that the other one's younger, or the other one's just a lot more curious, and like she roams around the house. But like my cat has anxiety, so she just hangs out in the bedroom mostly. I had to move her food in here to make sure that she was eating.
Right. It's a high risk, high reward type of situation.
Yeah. But every time they get together and like start playing or something, then there's like something outside happens, and like there's like our neighbors have dogs,
right?
And they got out and into our little back patio area, and we're barking at the cats through the window.
Right.
It's like they were just getting together and like playing with each other, and then that happened, and it's like, oh, this killed that whole vibe.
Yeah,
fuck.
Sets it back. I like when I asked how your week was going. You said, "Well, I'm unemployed." Dude, that's gonna be awesome starting up at the new place though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going in this weekend to hang out with them and
change of pace.
Yeah, get something new going, and
yeah,
should be a fun summer. I'll be in a food truck making smoothies,
slinging smoothies.
I mean, the whole smoothie part's going to be one of the easiest things I've ever done in my whole life, but the the responsibility that comes with operating and taking care of this food truck for them is going to be that's going to be the most stressful part.
Yeah, you can't run over people in their food truck.
I mean,
it's hard to resist.
I'm the only other one that's going to be driving it, so my alibi's fucked.
Shit. You got any honorable mentions?
I don't this week.
Okay. I got a couple. So first I wanted to mention, all right, so I got a message on the Trashcats show page from someone named the Crap Cat.
I saw that.
It's the Crap Cat Critique. So their page used some memes that we had posted already, and they mentioned the show. So I know they're a fan of the show. And to be frank, we don't have that many fans, but I don't know who the fuck this is. And they're doing art critiques of people's art. Like, people send in their art, and then the person pretends to be an alcoholic cat and roasts their art. And it's pretty brutal.
Probably have a better following than we do.
I think so. They're getting there. So I don't know who it is, but they listen to the show, and I am so proud of you for what you're doing. It's outstanding. And if you're
doing listener, God's work, they're really funny.
Yeah. And if you're an artist and you want a free critique, honestly, dude, it's one of those things, like, as an artist, it's really fucking refreshing to have someone just trash your art.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Like, as a real tool. Like, there were so many times, especially when I was younger doing art, I would have loved to have had somebody just roast my shit, I feel bad sometimes, because I feel like every time you send me something, like, I can't come up with anything bad, any constructive criticism of any, it's always like, this is fucking dope, dude. I don't know, I like it. The more I look at it, I like it. Well, the Crap Cat roasted mine, so I sent it in yesterday. And
I gotta look at that.
It's a pretty funny critique. So he's on Instagram. I don't even know if it's a he, but at what is it? Crap_cat_critique. So if you guys want free art critiques, that's your cat. And then I was going to. All right, I'm going to show you this first artist. I think you said you hadn't seen this dude's work. His name's Simon Berger.
Yeah, he's new to me.
Okay, so I watched, I don't know if it was a Vice thing. There's a little video series on him on YouTube. That's definitely worth checking out. But this dude's stuff is really cool. So he takes sheets of, like, the perfect thickness of glass, and he creates portraits that are surprisingly realistic by smashing the glass with a hammer.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
They are stunning. It is surprising.
The stuff he does, like some of them that have hair and shit.
And it's so cool. Like, if you passed a window, like, on the street, like, he does lots of, like, kind of exhibit pieces, like, where he'll create it live, or it's a storefront window, and if you're walking right next to it, it just looks like vandalism. And then if you're across the street, it's like the portrait's revealed. And there's some where the reflection of trees in the glass makes the hair, or like different things like that. He's fascinating to watch work. This glass, he's got the hammers and he does it by knowing how many strikes it gets to get what effect, and it's all this, like, pre-planned thing, and he breaks them all the time and has to start over, but it's just really cool stuff. I have seen him do some pieces that I didn't like. He did this whole project for Kamala Harris, and I'm not a fan of her. I don't really care strongly one way or another, but he's done, like, a couple projects like that where I'm like, whatever. But artists got to make money too, and he does some really fucking rad stuff. So he's definitely worth checking out. Simon Berger.
Yeah, man. Well, political stuff sells, like you said.
Yeah,
he's got to make money somehow. That Obama poster that went completely apeshit viral.
Shepard Fairey. Now, what I do appreciate about that poster is, drop my pen. Shepard Fairey fought in court for that. That piece dictated copyright infringement and collage laws on a national scale because he didn't photograph. The photograph that he used to make the piece was done by a political photographer, and he referenced this photo to make the art without the photographer's commission, and there was a massive court case for millions of dollars over the rights of that piece. And I appreciate, there's a lot I like about Shepard Fairey, there's a lot I don't like, but I appreciate that he fought for the rights of artists kind of thing.
Right.
The next piece, I can't help it. I love these old-timey ones, and this is actually a piece I am currently working with in my own shitty art. It is called Vanitas, which translated is The Old Coquette, and this piece is by Bernardo Strozzi. This is an old painting from 1637. That's
Jesus.
Crazy. But this painting is gorgeous. And there's high def scans of it too, which is great for a designer such as myself. But this piece is a sad... It's incredible. It's one of these ones where it has so much emotion packed in it. It's this old woman gazing in the mirror as these younger coquettes are dolling her up, and she's looking in the mirror at her old face, and she's so sad. And I love stuff about like in Inception, you're gonna die an old man filled with regret. I love that dementia, old shit, sadness, wasted life vibe is one of my favorites.
That's fucked up, but yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's such a sad... I love tragic, sad, pretty, and this is by far my favorite painting of the week.
Now, I did notice one thing about this painting when I first pulled it up.
Yeah.
The old woman's cleavage in the reflection is like morphed together.
Yeah, she's got some weird sag lines, and they used that flower just expert. That was pretty.
I mean, call me wild, but it doesn't look like sag lines because they tried it. It makes it. I guess maybe because I'm referencing the not reflection, but it looks like they're Siamese twin connected tits. And I think it's just a use of shadow to try to portray sag lines.
Yeah.
But because of the high def thing I'm looking at, I got my computer high defed in on these this old woman's cleavage.
Now, are you saying you like it or don't like it? Because I feel like it's done really well.
I think it's done really well. This painting is incredible. Weird. It's really cool. I think that one thing did distract me a little bit because it looks off, and I was trying to find that if it was like a reference to some other thing that was going on,
like a breast cancer or something.
Well, I was even thinking like a surrealist kind of thing, but if it's from that time period, that's highly unlikely.
I totally get how you could see that. For me, I read it as realistic, but I see how it's weird enough that it could throw you too.
Yeah. But even like the clothing and stuff like that, the shadows and the weight of everything is incredible.
I love the woman's eye in the mirror that's doing her hair. That composition, that is expert. And the redness and balding of the cheeks of the two other women dolling her up, they are creepy and just so on point.
Yeah.
Dude, it is crazy that, painters in 1631 or whatever are achieving this level of realism. I mean, it's...
Yeah, the detail is extraordinary.
Right. And in 2021, we got all these sweet digital art NFTs, and it's like, bring this shit back. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
Says the digital artist.
Right.
Anyway, all right. Next, I was going to mention, with our music theme of the day, music-maps.com. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, because we were checking... This isn't like a piece of art. It's just a cool tool. It's just a website. Double check that URL for me. I mean,
music-map.com.
Music-map.com. So this website basically is just a search bar that puts the artist you referenced in the center, and then it has this orbit of related artists, and it's just a really great way to discover cool music and to see music trends, relationships between artists, that kind of stuff. But it's really cool.
Yeah, we'll detail a little bit more of this later, but like finding new music has never been my thing. It's like usually the shit I listen to is like things that people have, shown to me, or I stumble upon completely by accident while listening to something else.
Right. Man, I got hard. Yeah, I got hard into both YouTube, SoundCloud, and music blogs. That's where I started. And then you get lost in the music blog world. That is a nightmare. Last thing to mention is this. It's this old viral. It was a viral YouTube series like a decade ago called "You Have Bad Taste in Music," and I put a link to one of the shirts. Me and my brother used to have these shirts. This dude would. The shirt just says, "You have bad taste in music. Stop listening to bad music." And this dude would wear all black on a cape, and he'd stand on a podium with a blacked out helmet at like popular concerts like Britney Spears or Hoobastank or Linkin Park, and he would just yell at the audience for having bad taste in music and debate with these people. And it is the funniest shit in the world.
There are ones where like people start crying and shit. It's they personally attacked.
Yes, he's so brutal, and it's just so outstanding. The videos are still floating around somewhere, but I wish this dude never stopped making them because they're so funny. But that's part of the reason we're doing this episode is we love music. There's a ton of people with bad taste in music, and I bet a lot of people are going to disagree with our taste. But we're encouraging good music and keeping people away from the shitty shit.
Yeah. So the prompt for this week we came up for, it's more about like music tastes of our own throughout our life.
Yeah.
What we listen to younger people versus now, where the overlap may be or how vast the difference is. If anything, I think it'll be a fun get to know each other better episode for both of us.
Yeah,
and since a lot of people, like you said, they like bad music, hopefully we can show off some good ones.
Hell yeah. So to kick it off, what is your, this is such a general question, but what is your relationship with music like?
It's extreme. I would have said extremely necessary, but I feel like lately podcasts have filled a lot of that gap for me. That is to say, like, if I'm doing work, especially like in a kitchen or something, I want music. I need music to be playing. Same with like cleaning around the house or something like that. And I would have said driving also, but I think driving, I typically prefer podcasts now. That's not to say that I don't listen to music. But like if I'm on my bike, though, especially if I'm going for a bike ride, I need music or any kind of workout. I need something there for that. But I guess with that, I started, I kind of took off a lot of my parents' influence on me growing up. And like I said, all through my life, like I'm not the one to like seek out new music and new sounds and stuff. You know, just whatever. If someone brings me something that, you know, I vibe with, I'll look into it and then I'll dive into that. I've got music on my hard drive and shit from, you know, my childhood kind of stuff for like nostalgic reasons and stuff. But that's me though. What about you?
Yeah, you're definitely very open-minded. Like a lot of things. And I also, I think, have a broad range of likes, but I'll be honest, I'm kind of a music snob. I'm kind of one of those people a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I used to be completely obsessed with music. I think that was like all I did was torrent and steal and trade music online. I had 2 million songs on hard drives, and it was just like constantly building, just changed. You know, hard drives weren't as big back then. I remember I crashed my first computer, which was my parents' as like a 10-year-old kid. I got LimeWire way back in the day, and I downloaded like 30
all the viruses.
Oh yeah, I had like 30,000 songs of like techno remixes and shit, and like crashed their computer. So I used to be very obsessed with music. I like a large range of stuff, but I'm very critical also. And then, so I'm a couple years sober at this point, and I really don't like that it is this way, but music's not the same at all. I still listen to it. I still spend some time with music, but it's mainly been replaced by podcasts or like by things that make me think more critically. And I have trouble, like I listen to songs now, and I used to be like an album person where I had to know everything about the artist, the album art, all that shit. That's all out the window, and I don't enjoy it like I used to, and I really don't like it that it is that way. But I still love it. Like I still get really excited, but it's not what it used to be for me.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason I enjoy talking about this so much, because it gets me like amped up again for shit.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, everyone's got at least some kind of, you know, personal relationship with, you know, with the music they love, you know, because it's a language, you know, and it's a way you can connect with people regardless of where you're at or where you're from. If you don't speak the language, you can play music, and it's like people understand that. If you don't understand the words, you can understand the feeling that comes from the you know, the sound.
Right. It's a human thing that we all share, and we all experience differently. But the people that hate music or don't have any passionate feelings about music, they're robots. Like that's crazy.
That's wild.
It's important.
Robots listening to the podcast, you can go ahead and fuck off. You can hit that like and subscribe button, but you gotta fuck off
on your way out. Yeah. So what's your? Do you have anything more about how your parents influenced you with music, or like family and shit? So
when I was growing up, so my parents were they listened to a lot of like Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, or like Alice in Chains and Kiss, kind of like, I don't want to say 80s hair metal, because it's such a general thing. They were picky even about that to a degree.
Those aren't hair metal bands, but they're a part of that era.
Yeah, you know, they listen to you know, Firehouse and a couple other ones.
It's like classic rock metal.
Yeah. Fucking goddamn Kicks band. But that's what I grew up listening to a lot of. Like we always knew it was like you know, Saturday or, you know, random summer day, we wake up to you know, Kiss or something blasting in the stereo downstairs, and we realize, okay, we have to do chores today, you know.
That's hilarious to me. Now, see, I hadn't even heard of Black Sabbath probably till 7th grade.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I don't like any of those bands either. I really don't like them, but I was completely closed off from, like, I would have loved that music, but it was completely out of my life. I got a late start. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What'd you hear growing up?
Like not much. Like my dad would like get a Dixie Chicks album or like a Garth Brooks or
Boy.
He liked some cool music too. Like he had a massive tape collection and he was really into music when he was a teenager, 20s or whatever. So he still had his collection, but he listens to a ton of like mainstream or like just not good stuff. He likes songwriting stuff, but he liked a lot of bad songs. And it's fun, like as an adult, I've got him into a lot of the music I like. He's very open, but I grew up with bad music.
Yeah, my dad listened to a lot more hardcore stuff too. Like my dad had like
That's
Anthrax albums and stuff.
Yeah, fuck
and
yeah.
Like he likes to this day he likes, more hardcore raw stuff. He doesn't like, when it sounds polished. He likes, more garage bandy kind of stuff. My mom separately listened to like TLC and Salt and Pepper and shit. So like, there's a little bit of a spectrum outside of that, but it was like the things that they both listened to together that they, that I heard the most of.
Right. See, I wasn't, my parents with the Catholic shit, like wasn't allowed to listen to rap or metal.
Oh, wow.
So like, my first experience, of course, we both have the cousins. Like, you always get good music from your older cousins. That was, like, clutch, life-saving to me. But my first experiences, like, really finding music were, like, for Christmas one year, I got one of those AM, FM tape cassette Walkman things. And I would stay, dude, like, when I discovered music, it was like my brain lit up like fucking drugs. Like, I would hide under the covers and listen to like shitty radio stations like Kiss 107 or WBN and like
WBN boy.
hear rock and like rap was like for the first time, and I would like stay up and like listen to Dr. Drew's sex shows, and like my brain just like infinitely expanded as soon as I found a radio, which sounds like was living in the 1920s, but it was like a big change for me, man.
Yeah.
And then the cousins, of course, they first started giving me burned CDs of real music, and that really got the ball rolling.
Yeah. I had one cousin that would hang out every now and then. It was my cousin Ricky. He was into ICP and shit.
Juggalo.
Right? And then I was really young. But my neighbor's older brother gave me he recorded for me a tape, cause he found out I like Black Sabbath. He recorded me a tape of, Korn, Follow the Leader.
That was a big album when we were young.
That was huge.
That was huge. That changed a lot of shit. That bass, bro.
Yeah, I think those two. Oh, and my cousin Keith got me. It was a little bit later on, but he's the one that first introduced me to Breaking Benjamin. I really like them still.
Oh my god, that's the worst. I can't believe you said that.
Oh man, I mean, it's like they're like Disturbed to me because it's like
they sure are.
They sound.
We're gonna have fun with this, man.
They sound. I already know you're gonna rip my taste in music to shreds.
Just fun.
A lot of their songs sound the same, but I like that sound. It's like a fun thing. Like the song that they have on the fucking Halo 2 soundtrack kicks ass.
You're
whatever.
ridiculous.
I see you shaking your head. Go fuck yourself. I dig it.
That's really funny.
What's the earliest memory you have of a specific song or artist?
Oh, this is so embarrassing. So the earliest song I remember getting hyped on. All right, so I have to preface this by saying I became a huge black metal fanatic and like hardcore rap. But the first song I ever remember getting into, because I was so limited, there was no options around me, Catholic Control.
It was Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way.
It's almost that bad. I got a hold. So I upgraded from the FM cassette player, and I got a CD Walkman. And I found someone's stash of CDs, and I found Sting's Greatest Hits.
Oh, boy.
And I listened to Message in a Bottle, Sending Out an SOS, that song.
Oh, damn.
Probably 200 times in a week. Dude, now
God
anytime
damn.
I hear Sending Out an SOS, whatever, by Sting, I'm so like, I know that song so well, and I fucking hate it.
Now you don't just let it teleport you back to a better time, to an easier time in your life.
No, dude, those are all bad times in my memory. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
My childhood was like really safe, and like nothing was bad, but I was just like a fucked up kid in my head. So like,
You're oppressed too.
yeah, that, and just like severe depression, and I didn't know what it was as a kid, and no one else, like, because my family was so happy and like I was well taken care of, it was like no one knew what was going on with the random like depressed introverted kid. So it's like things weren't
Who's
bad.
listening to SOS fucking Message in a Bottle
Listening
on a
to
repeat?
Sting on repeat. Yeah. So no one knew what to fucking do with me. But, oh man, dude, that song, like, I have a soul bond with it, and I hate it. And I think it's very funny.
I like to play that one on Guitar Hero.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's one of my ones I like to play. It's fun to play.
Now, as, like, you got good at music. I played piano.
That's a strong way to phrase it, but thank you.
You didn't go full in. You had the talent. If you went full in, you could have been a musician. It's the same with art. You have talent.
Yeah. I'd like to play guitar. I disagree with the thing about being a musician. Mostly because I look at like the way that like David looks at music and like can just do music, and it's like I can't just do that. I can copy other people and I can like figure some stuff out, but it's not I don't have the drive and the desire to.
You say the same thing about art, but it's one of those things like I'm
an asshole to myself.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But like, is artistic talent natural or trained? And some people believe one way or another, or a mix of both. But I really think it's mostly trained. Like, if you would have, it was like a passion thing, I think, for you. Like, if you got as passionate as like a David with guitar, I think you could have trained yourself to be that good.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think so. But
yeah. So your point.
What was my point?
You're talking about you said that I have great musical talents, and
do you think like guitar here, as a person who played, do you think there's any like actual like learning you can get from games like Guitar Hero?
I do, but I don't think it's in the way that people think of initially, because it's not like you're learning how to play guitar, but like that hand motion, the coordination between your right and left hand, and then your finger dexterity, that definitely helps. Just like,
do you think
I feel like it could help someone who doesn't know how to play guitar learn at least some finger motions, and it definitely makes it easier for someone that knows how to play guitar to play that song or play that game. But there is a point where, like, if you know how to play a song like for real, and say you're not as good at like Guitar Hero, it's gonna make it harder because you know certain notes that, you know, unless even if you're playing on expert or something, there's gonna be things that don't make sense, that don't translate to that, you know, 5 fucking color coordination. So it can make it harder that way.
Now, how long is your experience with playing music? Or like, speak about your experience with playing.
I think I started fiddling with guitar. I was real young. I might have been 9 or 10 when my dad got me my first guitar, which I still have it sitting in the corner over here. It's a Washburn electric guitar, and with the whammy bar and all that. It's super high distortion and good for like metal and stuff. And I learned Smoke on the Water. Actually, I think he showed me how to play Smoke on the Water.
That's a first for so many.
Yeah. I
It's
didn't really get into it much more than that until much later. I was probably in middle school-ish or something, and I started playing a little bit more. Once I figured out how to learn tabs,
right?
That was huge.
Can you read sheet music?
No, I used to be able to when I was a kid, but
yeah.
not at all anymore.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I just thought of my my earliest memory of music. It wasn't as cool as yours, but because I want to talk about this band a little bit. There's a band called Mr. Big, and the song they're known for is To Be With You. So, I'm the one who wants to be with you. Oh God, you have me on recording singing. That's awful. Oh, anyways, it's a super popular song. Yep. God damn it. Anyway,
I've never heard that song.
It's super popular. It was one of the only ones that really got them famous here. But they're fucking huge in Japan. Their music kicks ass. They do some really hard, rock riffs, and they do a lot of ballads too. That's for sure. But one of the ones they do is they did a cover of Wild World, like "Ooh Baby Baby, It's a Wild World." Mm-hmm. They do a cover of that. It's really good. And I remember sitting in the back seat of my mom's car. I think both my parents are there. I have to assume my sister was there too. And we had like just left fucking Frisch's Big Boy. And I had it was like a book or something, like a coloring something that they gave us. And I was looking at it, and the song, being happy, but the song made me so sad I started to tear up. And I associated it with the thing I'm looking at before by the end of the song, I realized, no, it's this song. It's really sad. And It made me cry. And I love the song. It's a really good song still, but it's one of those things that I think that was the first time I realized the power of what music can do. And
those are powerful experiences as a kid when you get because the reality is the situations that are in the lyrics or whatever they're singing, writing about, whatever. As a kid, you have none of that experience and don't understand it, but you still feel the emotion, and it can affect you profoundly, even as a kid. It's so magical. Yeah,
I won't think I was even kindergarten age yet.
Right.
I consider it to be even one of my earliest memories. Period. Mm-hmm. Is that?
Dude, that's wild. Yeah, I played piano for I think more than 6 years.
Oh, damn.
But I was forced to play. So I never really wanted to. And it sucks because if I could play any instrument now, I probably would play piano. I really love piano, but it kind of got ruined for me. And I never got very good. I could read sheet music at one point. I can't really now. But then as a teenager, I got into playing bass, electric bass guitar, and I really felt passionate about it and tried, but my brother does music, it clicks with his brain, but he can't do visual arts. My brain does art, and I can't. It never clicked. I later would use it was a BC Rich Zombie 5-string bass.
Ooh.
With a coffin case guitar, of course. And that case later was used to transport. And then I sold the guitar for a bunch. That was my experience with music.
You completed the cycle of a bass player.
Exactly. Yeah, kicked out of the band. But I always really wanted to play, man. I really am jealous of musicians.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that you actually knew that you had learned even to play.
Yeah, and like if I'm sitting with my brother, like I feel like I can write music. Like I can't do the notes and shit, but I can like make songs. Like I know what I want things to sound like, and if I have an engineer or a musician with me, like I can make music, but I can't play or like write it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean.
It just doesn't work right for me.
It's the main thing I even have with guitar is that like the way that's when I realized like writing music is not a thing for me, because like I can think of something I want to do, but like I just cannot do it.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't translate that way.
It's a frustrating feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, what about first big album or albums you've owned, or the first ones you bought?
Okay. So the first album I ever owned, well, I'm not gonna. I already said the
Mr. Big.
Fucking Follow the Leader. Follow the Leader was the first.
Corn.
It was a tape that was given to me. That might have been the first I ever had, but the one that I think
have
about
the hopscotch chart and everything.
Yep.
That's so dope.
But I think before that, it was shortly after All Star came out by Smash Mouth.
Oh yeah.
And it was in the Mystery Men promo video trailer, and I wanted to go see that because it had Kel Mitchell in it, and I was all about this song. And I asked my parents for the Smash Mouth album, but the one that they got me, it was Smash Mouth, but it was their first album that had Walking on the Sun on it. Mm-hmm. And they did not buy the clean version.
Nice.
And it is like a punky ska, like extremely explicit album. And actually I dig that album still. It's good. It's not
Oh my god, you're so funny.
You don't know this album.
I've heard it.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Fushu Mang.
It's been a long time.
But the first one I ever paid for, this one might be worse.
Oh boy. Do it.
It was either Kid Rock or it was
Ozzy, man.
No, listen, I think it was Ozzy Osbourne. Mm-hmm. Diary of a Madman. Because I knew my parents liked Ozzy a bit, and they had I want to say they had it on vinyl.
Yeah. But
I wanted my own copy of it to listen to, because I had just bought or had I got a Walkman.
Hell yeah.
And so I wanted that to listen to. And Diary of a Madman was an album that I played the shit out of growing up.
That's funny, man. See, I never liked Ozzy, never could do it, but he was one, when I was younger, he was one of the ones that I thought it was cooler than other music that other people liked. You know what I mean? I was always at least they like Ozzy, but I don't like Ozzy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair. No, that's fair. That's cool.
I was at least he maybe bit the head off a bat. I mean, that's pretty metal.
This fucking guitarist for a minute, and for that album especially, fucking Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads kicked ass. He was a fucking bad motherfucker.
Definitely talented.
What was your first album?
The first albums, so my cousins would start to sneak me CDs, and they gave me fucking Linkin Park, and honestly, dude, I mean, I really dislike Linkin Park, but I have a soft spot for them because that was the first time I'd ever heard rock mixed with rap. So that was, a those Hybrid Theory, whatever, Meteora, those albums were like transformative albums as much as I dislike them.
So let me introduce you to a friend of mine named Kid Rock, who exclusively mixes rap with rock.
I'm familiar. I hate him so much. He's got
an asshole.
He's the biggest asshole. He was golfing with Trump this year in all American flag clothing, which I think is hilarious. I mean, it looked funny, but I hate Kid Rock. But I mean, as a kid, that would have been new music to me. Like I would have thought it was
ball to bang diggy diggy.
So like, got my hands on some Linkin Park, was banging that in the Walkman. But my cousins, then I started getting like some of the cooler stuff. Like I got some Gorillaz albums, heard my first Metallica album. So I was starting to find some more interesting stuff. The Gorillaz especially were like a very important band to me. Chili Peppers, some Nirvana a little bit, starting to find some stuff. But the first album, so I was so like separated from like music, like wasn't allowed to have metal or rap, and I like 7th, 8th grade was starting to wear all black, and I wasn't allowed to wear black clothes anymore. And so I remember like sneaking on to Amazon with somebody else's credit card, and like I went from like not knowing heavy music at all to like I have a stolen credit card and I'm gonna buy the top metal albums I could get my hands on. So like at that time, like not knowing what death metal was yet, and I bought As I Lay Dying, one of their first albums, and then probably the most important album, the first official album I bought was Himsa, which is a death metal band that they're not great, but they are like as an adult, they're solid, just classic death metal. Like not the most brutal, not the most technical, but they're heavy, and they're just a solid band. So those were my like first 2 albums I bought, and then from that point on, my little brother John, who does our music, like our alarm clock every morning was death metal albums, and we were just like instantly fucking hooked. And then for the next couple years, we'd save whatever chore money or money we could get a hold of, and then we'd walk like 3 miles to Best Buy and buy any explicit or like death metal, heavy rap, whatever, any album we could, and then we'd like stash them and like secretly listen to them. So it went from like not knowing what Ozzy was, like I skipped classic rock,
and
I think that's
straight to metal.
That's part of the like I can't do Judas Priest, Ozzy, Anthrax. I can't listen to any of it. It has to be either like beautiful vocals or no clear vocals, like the hardcore shit. I can't do the in between. So I got into all the heavy shit, and it was like fucking gasoline on a fire. I was addicted right away. So we would just stash our money and sneak to Best Buy, walk there and buy any CDs we could, and we loved it. It was like, it's really what bonded me and John too, was stealing or getting music secretly as a kid.
Yeah, I think that's badass. That's my parents were. I'm not sure if they intentionally didn't get me the clean versions of shit. I feel like they were just like, he's gonna get it eventually, or he's gonna learn these words eventually.
I mean, it's a ridiculous concept.
Yeah, like some of those, like, it's like you can't listen to fucking Kid Rock. The
do
clean
they still
version.
Do that with albums?
I know that certain places you can't get
the explicit version.
Yeah, like Walmart. I like to buy CDs for a certain artist that I like because I want to have a copy in case like my hard drive fucks up or something. I want to be able to have it on backup.
And
plus,
vinyl.
Yeah, and like I like the album art and stuff like that for some of them.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I look online, or I look for who has CDs I can buy, and Walmart won't sell anything that's explicit.
That is insane.
I'm not sure about Best Buy, but I know they have shitty.
Selection.
Yeah,
I think they do explicit though, but I never. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Now, censoring music.
What was your first concert?
Oh my! So this is a good one. So at this point in my life, I think this was like 8th grade, freshman year. I was into like hardcore black metal, like burn churches, murder your parents, black metal. But my friend and brother, who I've talked about, Tony, was into all kinds of music too, and we definitely bonded over music. And one of his favorite bands was Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Oh wow!
Who I have like a soft spot for. So much nostalgia. They've done all kinds of really dumb shit over the years, but they have some really fun shit. That was like, especially as like a high schooler, that was like fun party music, right?
Yeah. Was your first concert a Mindless Self-Indulgence show?
Dude, yeah.
That must have been wild as fuck.
Dude, I had never been to Vine Street. I had never been like downtown or any concert. I go to Bogart's, the shithole on Vine, and dude, this concert. So Jimmy, the singer, at every show, he's always like, he's had so many fines or like borderline criminal charges and shit because he's like almost always trying to get naked because he's so fucking high. And he's just in tighty whities, like pouring water over himself, and he starts yelling for the management of the show to lock the doors of the venue because he wants to gas and kill everyone. And like he's a maniac, dude. I love his performance. All this he's just wild. So yeah, dude, this gets crazy. So their bassist, this band, they don't really have that much bass to begin with. It's like half electro. Their bassist is kind of notoriously not a great bassist. His name's Steve Rye or some shit. So they're playing, and like within the first two, and they're all drug addicts. I think some are sober now, but the bassist, Steve, was like in very active addiction. Within the first 2 songs, he has nodded out completely, standing with his bass, not playing. Within the first 2 songs of the show.
Wow.
Just out cold, fucking drooling on himself. They get a little bit farther into the show. This motherfucker just falls to the ground. Faints completely. On the floor of Bogart's stage. The band doesn't give a shit. They're like, whatever, there's not that much bass in our music. We don't even give a fuck. Like, they've had all kinds of internal band problems too. So he's just passed out, like nodded out. I've never seen an overdose before. I've never seen someone like that fucked up on drugs. And I'm watching it on stage as a kid, obsessed with music, and I think it's the coolest shit in the fucking world. I'm like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to be that dude on stage. Dude, he is actually overdosing. And they pull him to the side where just his shoes are on stage. Like, he's behind the side curtain, and his feet are just twitching for an hour. They just left him. And, like, they had, like, a PA from the venue, like, trying to slap him awake and, like, make sure he was alive. They're checking his breathing and shit. They end up having someone from Bogart's run to McDonald's and buy a bunch of cheeseburgers. And they start, like, feeding him food to get him back up. And, dude, they're, like, ripping the food in small chunks and putting it in his mouth and, like, helping him chew and shit. He ends up kind of coming to. This is, like, towards the end of the concert. They prop him up on a milk carton. And for maybe 5 songs, he just sat there eating McDonald's cheeseburgers instead of playing. Dude, it was insane. I mean, it was amazing.
Oh, fuck.
I was so excited. And then by the end, like the last 2 songs, he was able to stand up and keep playing. And it was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. It was outstanding. I was losing my goddamn mind.
That's fucking great.
It was so much fun.
That's a great first concert.
Such a good one. What was your first?
Well, I got
virginity.
I got 2 answers. One, because the first one I don't think really counts.
Okay.
So when I was really young, my sister was into Hanson, and I went to one of.
I don't know Hanson. I've always heard the name. I don't even know what it is.
It's 3 brothers. They did Mba. Yeah, I was so young that I got there and I fell asleep. I slept through most of it.
That doesn't count. I won't hold it against you.
Yeah. The first concert I ever chose to go to and went to was a Twisted concert.
Nice. I've seen it.
I went. It was at Bogart's.
Mm-hmm. The worst venue ever. Man. It's such a fun spot. Garbage
venue.
Oh god.
So I went with my friend there, my friend at school at the time, and her mom was the one that took us. She was the one that our adult supervision,
Of course.
She left us to stand in line because for a Juggalo concert, it was the first concert I ever went to was a Juggalo concert, and of course they're super everyone's whoop whooping in the fucking the line and spraying each other with Faygo and shit like that. It was super hype. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
How old were you?
I might have been 12.
Yeah, man. That's transformative experience.
Yeah. But while we were there, her mom left us in line to go to some bar down, on Vine Street, just at the top of the hill.
Nice chaperoning.
Right. So, we realized they're opening the doors and we're about to go in. So we go find her mom. Her mom is fucked up drunk.
Ooh.
And we're like, what happened? And this girl was not really fazed by it, which was also fucked
sign.
up.
Yeah.
But she, they were able to put together that the bartender's I've only served her 2 rum and cokes, and there was some guy that was sitting there talking to her, so they think she was drugged.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
that's a hard turn. Yeah.
Her uncle or something comes to pick her up, and they need help getting her out to the car.
Oh my god, this is fucked up, man.
So he takes her arms. I grab her legs.
What the fuck?
And we're about halfway out this bar before I realize her mom is wearing a dress and no underwear.
Oh my god.
So I just get this full-on view of her mom's vagina as
12.
12, carting her out to this car, and we get her in there, and the guy asked, my friend, are you guys cool here for a minute? I take her home, come back for you. And she's like, yeah, we're cool. And so we fucking walk into Bogart's and we, jam. It was a great concert, good show. It ended up being fun. That was my first concert.
Oh my god, dude. That's a blast, man.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously terrible about what may have happened with the mom, but as a 12-year-old, that had to be the best night ever.
Oh, I ended up meeting a girl there too. She was
Nice.
13 or 14, and we made out that night. That was cool.
Now, did you have a cell phone then?
Yes.
So you were able to stay in touch with her?
Yeah. We actually we started
What's
dating
she up
after
to?
that. I have no idea.
You actually dated?
Yeah, we dated for a minute.
Oh my god, you rascal!
I know.
That is awesome.
I think we hung out the next day. But
Young love at the Juggalo concert.
I think she felt weird about, dating someone who is so much younger than her, which, makes sense at that age.
How much older was she?
She was probably 14.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not that.
37.
Yeah.
Full Juggalo makeup.
Yeah. But she was cool, and yeah, that was my first concert.
Dude, that's wild. I don't think I've told this one on the podcast. If I told you about the Misfits concert?
No.
Okay, so at SCPA, so this would have been junior year, and I had used drugs and alcohol prior to that, but I still was kind of new to the first drug I ever used was oxys, but I hadn't become an addict yet, or I had smoked a handful of times, probably with you, was one of my first times kind of thing, but I hadn't really got faded yet. You know what I mean? I had maybe drunk a little alcohol, maybe smoked a little bit, but I hadn't really gone the distance,
Right.
So, be junior year, high school. I remember, so there was a Misfits concert at Southgate House. And, it's not all the original members at that point. But I think Danzig or whatever the fuck his name, I think he was there that night. But
that sounds about right for that time period.
Yeah, they were just doing a get back together old person punk tour. And saw them at Southgate House, and I went with a chick who that I was hardcore crushing on at the time. And we went to the woods outside of Southgate House, which there's no real woods. And I don't understand how kids were allowed to do this. I mean, it's ridiculous. But we were chugging 40s and smoking some joints, and it was the first time my brain got all the way there. And it drastically altered my life. I would have got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like that is what led to my things in my life. It was going to happen no matter what. But that was the first time I got fucked up on multiple things and really got there. But that show was a blast, and I was hardcore crushing on that chick. And I saw some of old punk friends from the Price Hill neighborhood that I hadn't seen in a while. They were at the show. One of them, we were in fucking mosh pit, and silly punks. They're all, it's half little kids and half 40-year-old adults who can't hold a job. And one of the old ones with the foot tall mohawk and 6-inch spikes on his belt and shit. Actually, he had a studded belt that was they were good 2-inch pyramid studs, but they were the ones. He had actual spiky ones, the old black metal days where you just wear nails in your shoulder pads. But his were 2 or 3-inch, the cone ones where the top isn't sharpened anymore. They round it out.
Yeah. And
my buddy, who I hadn't seen in forever, tripped in the pit and did a face first into this dude's crotch. Hits the pyramid stud belt. Somehow only one stud got him. He's like, I don't feel so good. We go outside, and this kid, legit, I've never seen an injury like this. It's still, I'm so confused on how, it was his forehead was just dented in. The perfect shape of the cone. I could put my finger an inch and a half into his forehead. Perfect, you could see all the sides of the studded spike, but there was no blood at all. It was just a perfect pyramid into his forehead.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
He was obviously concussed. And he went to the hospital, and I got fucked up with this chick. And then went to school. I stayed up all night. I don't even know where we went, but did something. And then next day in painting class, we're in the pool studio on the top floor.
I'm glad you brought up that room because I'm going to bring it up later.
The best room ever. But, all right, I literally was soaked head to toe in 40 malt beer and reeking of weed. And the art teacher opened all the windows because I smelled so bad. And I was right by the window. So the smell was just wafting to the other side of the class. And the girl we went to school with that I dated for like 3 years was across the room from me. And she said she first like really noticed me for the first time because of how bad I smelled. And that's what led to us dating. So that was my first.
That's healthy.
Yeah. So thank you, Misfits, I guess.
Boy, fucking howdy.
Oh man. So what about the paint room?
So I was thinking about like I said, my music, my taste in music, I've always known it's been questionable. It's stuff I like, and I've gotten to the point where I don't give a fuck what other people think. But there's it's stuff that I know I can't just play the shit that I like because most people either don't know about it or they don't fucking like it.
Right.
Like Mastodon and shit. Like I think there's a decent amount of people that like it, but I don't know those people. You know, I don't hang out with those people. So, fucking one person in that classroom used to play music, and they would play like Pink Floyd all the time, and I fucking hate Pink Floyd.
They're whatever.
So, and one day I decided I'm gonna play music today. Fuck that guy.
Fuck yeah.
And I put on Buckethead, and everyone booed. Everyone booed it.
What?
I know. I was like, oh man, like,
you can't
come
boo
on.
Buckethead. Even if you don't like it, it's so technically profound. You can't boo it.
It's like that's what I listen to when I do art. Like to this day, that's my getting in the mood to do art, or even like if I'm by myself and I'm cooking and I want to get like creative, that's what I want to listen to is Buckethead.
Mix it up. So Buckethead stood the test of time for
you. Absolutely it has.
I never really got into Buckethead, but I so talented, you can't not respect it. It wasn't my thing, but I like,
Yeah.
It's very talented.
So speaking of standing the test of time.
Real quick, I was going to say, like, both of us are very genre open. Like, if someone's talented enough in their genre, even if it's not my thing, I respect the craft of what they do.
I don't listen to much bluegrass, but I'm on record as liking good banjo solos.
You sure are. It's one of our first episodes. But for real though, like, there's not much country I like. There's not much, not a lot of jazz. I like some jazz. But like, if it's really good, I still respect it. I can like a little bit of everything, but there are like Christian rock or like a Christian thing like that. No fucking chance.
Right.
Dude. All right. I got a couple ones. I had somebody, it was actually after Tony died, a mutual friend try to take me to Crossroad Church before I knew what it was. Mm-hmm. Very modern, hip Christian bullshit. And I'm wearing a Marilyn Manson Mechanical Animals shirt where it's him as the woman totally naked. Mm-hmm. And I had bought it from the lead singer of Cyclone 9 off eBay. And it was the last batch of t-shirts that he sold of his own shirts before he started ripping off all of his own fans.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he started selling shit and then not delivering it because he was an addict also. So I'm wearing this shirt. I'm so proud of it at the time. And I'm like super fucked up because my best friend's dead. And this dude that knew my buddy takes me to Crossroads Church. And they start doing like Christian rock breakdowns. Dude, inside the church, it's a bunch of fucking lames hardcore moshing. Hardcore head banging like crazy. And there's all these motorcycle dudes that were like ex biker gang shit, but they had found Christ and they're at Crossroad Church and they're wearing their big vests, but no gang colors. It's all like crosses made out of studs and like fish and like, oh dude, the lamest shit. I remember one of the big biker dudes with the beard walking up. Looks like you need some help, son. Do you think you'd like to hang out with us? Like the lame. I remember just being like 15 or 16, like, no.
No,
I really don't want that. Take me home, you asshole. I can't believe we came here. Oh my God. But what was like, so any genre, there can be something good unless it's got a religious tint. But I will say I really, like, I can get into a lot of country too, even. But I fucking hate 99.9% of R&B. I can't do it. Dude, I fucking hate it, man.
That's I can see that on your music. See, I grew up, my experience with R&B is in the mornings when I got picked up by the school bus, my bus driver had a boom box in the front, and she would play the radio, and there would always be R&B in the morning, rap in the evening. So we just heard, fucking R&B, smooth hits like all morning. And then, on the way home, it was like country grammar and shit like that, whatever was popping off back then.
Dude, that's really funny.
So I got a lot of that influence early on.
Dude, it makes me filled with rage. Like, John likes a ton of good music, but then he'll listen to who's like a Frank Ocean or some shit like that, where you're like, that. But like, it's a modern stuff I don't fuck with, and I think so. It might just be a nostalgic thing for me then. Yeah, no, I get that. I do get that, because there's a ton of music I like that, like Sting. I mean, I'm a huge Sting fan. Yeah, but like, I mean, I had an emo phase too, but like shit, like where I can't listen to a guy sing whining, and I can't listen to a guy sing about trying to fuck or be romantic. Either of those two things, automatically, I fucking hate your whole discography. Either one.
That's fair. That's fair. So I was going to ask this question, but I feel like I mentioned enough of it that you might know already.
This could be good.
So which of these three bands did I both listen to as a child, and I still keep on my phone to listen to today?
Okay.
The three different choices are Kid Rock, Dave Matthews Band, or Smash Mouth.
Bro, you're killing me. You're killing me.
It's one of those three.
None of those three should be on anything. I'm guessing. I'm leaning towards Kid Rock, but dude, I'm questioning everything about you. Now I'm wondering if it's Dave Matthews. I think it's Dave Matthews.
It's wrong. It's Smash Mouth.
That's the least bad of the three. I shouldn't have doubted you.
I keep both both their first albums on my phone because I like to hear them every now and then.
Dude, I mean, nostalgia's powerful. I mean,
yeah. But some of them I'm going to say it's not just nostalgia. I think that they're legit jams.
You've been tricked. It's nostalgia. It's tricking you.
Well, fuck me then, I guess. I'm glad that was a challenge for you at least, though.
Yeah, I mean, you had me stumped. What about eras of music in your life? Has your taste changed? Has there been progressions or going back or
significantly has changed backwards and forwards. When I was young, I listened to a lot of, like I said, it was mostly, classic rock kind of stuff and a little bit of more hard stuff. And then when I hit I must have been 11 when I got into ICP and stuff. That was my first big thing into rap. Period.
It is for so many people.
Yeah.
White people.
Yeah. And I would say let's go anything before 5th grade. I was heavy metal kid. I had long hair and I painted my nails black and shit like that.
I remember seeing at your family's house a picture of you when you were younger with long hair for the first time. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
You were about that life, man.
I actually had a t-shirt back in like 3rd grade, and it just said, it had a bunch of rocks on it, like different elements, and then it said heavy metal underneath it. I was so proud of that shit.
See, as a kid in grade school, I would have like looked up to you like you were the coolest kid ever, because you knew I wouldn't have known any. I would have been like, oh my God, he's so cool. What kind of music is that, man?
Check out this fucking Dio, dude.
Yeah, I would have got so hard into like ICP and all that bad music. I would have gone head first into with you.
I think around like 6th grade maybe is when I started listening to ICP and like Tech 9 and stuff like that.
So you're early on tech then.
Yeah. I started listening to tech. It was when Angelic Reparation came out.
Damn, that was super early.
Yeah. It was because I think I have that right, because he put out Absolute Power. He put out and then he put out the Reparation for Angelic, because they fucked him. His record label fucked him on the original release.
I didn't even remember that part. I think whatever version because I got into it later. I don't even think the 2 versions were available. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got heavy into that for a long time. But I also listened to, because I had other friends that listened to Coheed and Cambria around the same time, which I wasn't nuts about at first.
They're a weird band. Yeah,
and actually one of their first songs that I actually remember liking, someone made me a CD and they were like, just listen to it, check it out, and like actually give it a shot. And I was on the yellow bus and I was fucking listening to it was The Suffering, and it's one of their most poppiest songs. Like, it's not even one of their harder ones that I traditionally would have liked. Right. And I felt the jam to it, and I was like, okay, there might be something here. Like, this is so outside of my comfort zone of things that I like. And I think I went home and I showed my mom. I was like, check this shit out. Like, this is new. And she was even like, this is really poppy. This is weird.
That's so cool, though, that you could have those discussions with your parents about music.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, that's actually fun. While we're on that exact little thing, my 7th grade English teacher, you know how you do the thing when you like first start and they're like, write, tell me something about yourself, write a couple paragraphs and introduce yourself kind of thing. I turned that in and I said something about like, I like rock, and she said, she replied on the paper something like, oh, I like rock and roll too, or something about Bruce Springsteen. And I was like, God. And I was like, I asked my mom, like, who's Bruce Springsteen? And she was like, hey, he sucks, don't worry about it. or I think she said he's weak, don't worry about it.
That's
like,
awesome.
All right, cool.
Your mom's gangster.
Yeah, fucking. So I went through the rap thing, and then from the ICP and Tech 9, like underground shit, I started listening to like 3 6 Mafia, and then like Young Jeezy and shit like that. And
did that make you want to do cocaine?
No.
When you first discovered Jeezy?
I did consider selling dope for a minute, because I thought that would be a cool thing to do.
It's the way out.
I didn't, the way out of my white suburban childhood.
I figured out a way to get out. Yeah. Thank you, Jeezy.
Then I got, I think around that time I was also like, then I started branching out with rap a little bit. I started narrowing in on like what I like about rock music, and that's when I started like liking Coheed more, and then realizing like, oh, there's like it's progressive music, progressive metal and stuff, and that's when I started to listen to like Between the Buried and Me and shit like that, which I still listen to a lot of them today. That's actually one of the last albums I paid money for, was a Between the Buried and Me album.
And neither of them are my thing, but Between the Buried and Me does some good shit. Yeah.
I like that concept album thing. I know I've talked about that on recording before. I love the concept album of like, that paints a picture in your head.
There's very few concept albums I like, but when it's done well, it can be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about eras in your life? What was your elementary? What were you bumping?
So when I switched from like not knowing music to knowing music, I went hardcore quick. Like end of grade school, to the start of high school was like dark metal shit, death metal, black metal. That's when I really started finding black metal. And that it actually started with industrial music. Like I fell into that whole phase for a while. The rivet head, electro head bullshit. I mean, there's some fun stuff there, but a lot of it's super fucking lame. But I got into like that. But I did get into Cyclone 9 then, which to this day is one of my favorite bands. And then they started as industrial and kind of became black metal as they evolved, and that was really what pulled me into black metal. And then like early high school, like I liked a lot of punk stuff, but I was really heavy into the black metal, burn your local church kind of shit, like Burzum. And then like throughout high school, like I at first I like hated rap, and then I like throughout high school, especially like getting into drugs and stuff, got hardcore into rap. And then like by the end of high school, I still was like a metalhead gothy kid, but I was mostly listening to rap. And I remember I had one time I got jumped in high school a couple times, but a couple times it was really bad. But one of the times it was by literally a whole basketball, like outdoor basketball scene at a park, you know, and it was like 50 to 100 kids like took all my shit, and they were gonna beat the fuck out of me. And I had my iPod, and we're scrolling through, and I was like into rap hardcore at that time, starting with like Tech, which still fucking love, even though he puts out a bunch of garbage. But I was in like Tech, Lynch, Necro, Doom, Dr. Octagon, weird shit. And these dudes, when they're going through all my shit, they're scrolling through my iPod. Dude, it ended up with us just listening to Tech 9 for like 2 hours.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Dude, it was a transformative experience. That was like the first time I connected with people that were different than me, like from my very like weird bubble of like being separated from the world to like connecting with people through music. And it was such a confusing experience, but it ended up like it's a like strong memory kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
like realizing like you sharing interest with people that are different, especially music. Like you could always find more similarities than differences, and music like was my way into a lot of worlds that I wouldn't have been allowed in otherwise. Mm-hmm. Whether it was like different gang shit, different biker shit, different like drug scenes, just different shivs. Like if you knew, like if you were a real music person, like, and you could just like show somebody some cool shit or like enjoy what they're doing, you know what I mean? Like you can, it was always a way to connect through music for me, like concert scenes,
the common interests or something.
Yeah, man. So like high school was mostly rap and shit, or like kind of like the mix of metal into rap. And then, you know, by the time after high school, I was like full blown junkie mode. And it was just like listening to weird underground rap and turning my dope boys on to different music. Like dope boys would want my CDs. And it was fun. Like I would make mixes for
that's fucking funny.
And they'd like bang it while they're like, you know, making runs and shit. But I was like, I stayed ahead of the curve on a lot of rap stuff. And but I always like was still listening to like weird electronic music and metal stuff. And then, I mean, music was so important in my life. And then as I started to get sober, it kind of fell off. Like I'd still get back into things, but I wasn't listening. I wasn't enjoying it like I used to. And I think now I'm kind of like out of balance with it, where I still get really into music stuff, but it just doesn't mean the same anymore. And I think part of it was the whole social aspect of it. Like I'm not going to concerts and like getting fucked up with people and getting excited about weird music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just changed for me. But I mean, I still fucking love music so much. But it went through eras. The main two, like I got into everything at some point, but the main two things were metal and rap. And then I remember one time with two people, it's so weird. It was actually supposed to be the first night I was going to do heroin because I was like done with life. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to go out with a bang, whatever. I had all kinds of dumb plans. But me and my buddy who we had the trap spot, we went to, and another person I'll leave unnamed. We went to the Cincinnati Orchestra and like got dressed up, suit and ties, and we're like, we're gonna do dope here. And it was like sold some shit for the week, saved up some money, went and like, dude, we had a stash, bro. And we ended up going to see this symphony called The Planets. And to this day, it's one of my favorite symphonies. It's kind of like Dr. Dre's album, The Planets.
No.
It never got released. It's ridiculous. It's like being a long reported on album because it was supposed to come out like, it was supposed to be an instrumental tape after, I think, Chronic, whatever. And it got shelved, and then he retired, and then he came back and did Beats by Dre, and he said the album, The Planets, was finally going to drop, and then he never put it out again. So it just got teased for like 15 years or whatever. But every track of the album was supposed to be a different planet, and it was like a concept album where like the beats, the instrumentals were like the different planets and shit. But I don't know if that was originally his idea or not, but predating him talking about, there was a symphony called The Planets where it was each movement of the symphony was a different planet. And it's a beautiful piece of music. So I got super faded at the symphony, and that was a fun one. Then went to the Dock, that goth club after.
I don't even know that.
There was a sketchy like electro like industrial kids bar, but like it was for adults, very seedy place. But they did like a goth night once a year, like different rap shows and stuff. But it was just like an old seedy bar. Super fun though. So definitely went through phases with it.
Yeah, fair.
Fun shit. Yeah. Sorry. What was your next one? Which newer musical artist or newfound interest would you be most interested in showing your younger self? That's a good one.
So what I was thinking of when I was first, when we were doing outline stuff, was I was going to say Buckethead, but then I realized I actually knew about Buckethead like in at least early high school, if not like middle school.
Yeah,
so I knew
pretty
about
early.
Yeah, I knew about Buckethead from a pretty early state. He was definitely doing shit before then, but I kind of want to say like some rap stuff. Like if I could go back to like my 8-year-old self and be like, check out this Tech 9 though. Yeah. And like check out this Jeezy. I'm not even sure that I would like it, but I feel like that would be
earlier.
Yeah, that would be some shit that would like shake my world at that point. But I think realistically, what would have impressed me the most when I was a little kid is if I showed him like, showed myself like Within the Ruins or Between the Buried and Me or something like that. That's like harder and still like technical. Right. I think that would have blown my fucking mind back then.
Dude, it would have been crazy. Because
that would have blown a lot of people's minds back then because it just didn't happen. But
right, man, Buckethead always reminds me a lot of John 5. I think you said you hadn't really listened to him much, but I know you'd get into him a lot. He was the guitarist for Manson and I think White Zombie.
yeah.
And
I've seen him live with White Zombie. Yeah,
John 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's old white-haired motherfucker. Well, he is now, I guess.
I don't think he's old. I mean, he's like Manson's age, like 50.
Yeah, that's what I meant by old.
But he doesn't sound old. He plays like Buckethead.
Yeah. There is a whole thing where he did a solo, and as he did a solo, there was a digital, the screen behind him had a cross, the crucifix, and it turned upside down slowly as he played. Then it turned, when it got upside down, it just flashed a bunch of times. So it was like, oh, brutal. It would have been better if it wasn't, preceded by like Five Finger Death Punch.
Right.
It fucking sucks.
Boy. Says the Breaking Benjamin fan.
Man, fuck you. Breaking Benjamin's so much better than Five Finger Death Punch.
It's all the same. I'm gonna give you such a hard time now.
I hate Five Finger Death Punch because it's shitty rock, but I feel like they try to make a big deal out of themselves. Of course, they had to have a thing where it was like a radio station, like a Warped Tour kind of a thing where there was bunch of bands and shit. But they had to make a thing where they brought up a veteran or something, and then they were like, we love the troops and shit like that. And it's like, of course, everyone loves the fucking troops. Shut up and play your shitty music.
Fuck out of here.
But then,
I don't love the troops. If I hear that at a concert, I don't want anything to do with that fucking band anymore. It's so fucking lame. Get the fuck out of here.
It was even worse because the two bands that so they're on that stage. It was like the finale stage that night. The first band was Ammon Amarth, which I hadn't even heard of before, and I fucking really digged them. And I ended up buying some of their music afterward because it was really good. And then Mastodon, who I already loved then, played after them. And then it was Five Finger Death Punch, and I was like, fuck.
God, those bands that open for them have to be like so salty because I bet they don't like,
Yeah. It's like, this is trash. This is bullshit. Just because they're not as well known, they're hardcore and they wouldn't fit on any of the other stages.
Right.
But
man, one time I got free tickets to see 311, which I am not a fan of. And they do some really cool shit live. I'm really don't like them, but they do like I think at every show they do like a 10 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, drum solo where they're all on drums. And it's actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But one year they had Sublime with them, and I'm really not into Sublime either. But they got some fun stuff. But one year, I forget the name of the tour, but it was 311 and Snoop Dogg. And yeah, honestly, dude, Snoop Dogg, and I'm not big into Snoop Dogg. He does some cool stuff, but he's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I got respect for Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I like Snoop Dogg as a character and an artist more than I like his music.
Honestly, people probably disagree with this, but half the shit he did as Snoop Lion is better than half the shit he did as Snoop Dogg.
I don't think I've actually heard any of the Snoop Lion.
Most of it's garbage, but some of it's better than this old shit, honestly. But so Snoop Dogg actually did a killer concert. Like he had he basically he opened for 311, which I bet he felt weird about, but it was just a marijuana tour. Like they had a disco ball and a pot leaf as the stage ornaments.
Cool.
And and he had his uncle just dancing on stage. So his set was like 30 minutes to a half an hour, and it was no songs. He just put out his new album, and they didn't do any songs at first. It was just like an hour. It was like a half an hour to an hour of just a very talented saxophone player freestyling with Snoop Dogg just freestyling whatever he wanted while his uncle danced. And it was killer, dude.
Yeah, that sounds like a kick's ass.
It was, I mean, it was amazing. So much talent. So, and then later he got into his album, dude. Like, it was at Riverbend.
Yeah.
And everybody's, chilling in the grass, hills, whatever. But up front, it was just swarms, fucking packs of wasted white moms who knew every single word to Snoop Dogg, and they were just sloppy drunk. It was so funny, man.
That's perfect. That's amazing. That's one of the most Cincinnati things I've ever heard in my life.
It was so Cincinnati. It was very funny. But if I had to show myself music earlier, I would have showed myself tech earlier than when I found tech, because I was a little late. I definitely would have showed myself Lynch, because I became obsessed with Brother Lynch Hung later. And then one of my favorite, I got into Cyclone early, who's one of my lifelong listens, but I would have showed myself this black metal band called Shining, and they're one of my favorite bands ever, and they have something like 12, 13 albums, and I got into them like really late, like 9, 10 albums in. And
damn.
They're like one of my favorites, and I wish I would have just known who they were earlier. Yeah. That's it. What about best concerts?
So that one's hard. I feel like, honestly, one of the most recent concerts I went to might have been one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Okay.
I've been to a lot of, and I base that on how much fun I had. So the first concert I went to was like the Twisted concert. That was dope. That was definitely, without a doubt, the best psychopathic concert I ever went to, because I had like it was so hype and it was so dope. And then every concert I went to after that was like a psychopathic thing.
Yeah.
It was nowhere near the same. It wasn't even close.
Right.
But so Coheed and Cambria, I've seen a lot. And I've seen Between the Buried and Me open for them, and I've seen a bunch of other bands open for them. A couple of years ago, they did a tour with Mastodon. And those are easily two of my favorite, like, active rock bands. So to see them, and my dad happened to be in town. I forget if he happened to be in town. Yeah, I think he came up to go to that with me. That was a really kick-ass show. Because they did the entire set of the album Crack the Sky. And then Coheed had just put out a new album that I really dug. And so that turned out good. And I say it's hard because the other concert that comes to mind is also one I saw with my dad. It was Rush's last tour. It was their 45th anniversary tour. And I got tickets for us for Father's Day. He always liked them growing up, and he got me into them. Rush is definitely in my top bands that I can go through and listen to, and like just not skip music. That's what I listen to when I ride my bike, is Rush almost every time. It's man, fuck you. It's
hilarious.
No, so it's evenly tempoed enough that it's not like, because I've tried like listening to like metal before when I go bike riding, and you beat yourself to shit, and it's not cool. And like sometimes rap can do the same thing, or you get focused on like the lyrics sometimes, and it
makes
not,
you want to groove more than
yeah. And Rush for me is typically like just feel good, like working music. I dig it. But it was a kick-ass show. Here's something I didn't know about Rush until that night was they don't have openers. They just play all night long.
4 hours.
Yeah. They come out, they do, an hour or so. They take a 10-minute break. They come back out and do it again. Take a 10-minute break, come back out, do it again. and they went through like their entire, because it was their 45th anniversary, they went through their entire catalog backwards. So they started with the new stuff.
Wow.
And then slowly progressed, and you could see the stage set. You know, when it started, there was a bunch of shit going on, and it was all wild. And then slowly things started getting moved away, and then like, you know, be like some time era stuff of shows that they had done in the past where they had like, one of them had like washing machines on stage, and they had that going on. And then at the very end, it was just like a school auditorium looking background.
Yeah.
And it was really good. It was just a kick-ass concert.
That's pretty cool.
And they stopped touring after that. That was their last show.
What a shame.
Yeah. Fuck you. That was so sarcastic. Go fuck yourself.
Do you have any like worst concerts?
Besides my friend's mom getting trashed and having to know.
That was the best.
Yeah. I'm sure some were like lackluster, but nothing that was like, this fucking sucks and is disappointing, I guess. Oh, you know what? I take that back. I went to one, it was a Cottonmouth Kings concert, but I went because Blaze Ya Dead Homie was going to be there.
Yeah.
And, you know what? That might even be the same. No, okay, it's not the same one. I just thought of the one that sucked the most. So it was an ICP concert. It was the first ICP concert I ever went to. And they had it was at Bogart's. They had a wrestling ring inside of Bogart's. And they were going to do like wrestling shit during their, you know, whatever. And whoever
Sounds like it'd be a blast though.
Yeah, it probably would have been dope as fuck. Anyways, they got into it, and it was just after they passed the smoking ban. So they stopped the show a couple times, and you know, during the first couple acts, and they were like, y'all got to quit smoking in here. Y'all got to quit smoking in here. Quit smoking in here. And then finally, they, at one point, before ICP even came on, they turned the lights on. They were like, fucking show's over.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, cool. So.
That's so lame.
Yeah.
You want to do? I'll do my best and worst.
What's your best concert you ever went to?
Cool. Well, then we'll do lists.
Yeah.
All right. Some of my best, I already listed. The Symphony was up there. Misfits was up there. Forget which other. MSI. One of my earliest concerts was Chili Peppers at US Bank Arena. And they do a great show. I mean, I like the Chili Peppers. It's not my favorite, but they were kind of one of those nostalgic growing up on bands or whatever. But they did a great show. But what was special about it is Gnarls Barkley at the time was huge, and he was doing that "You Drive Me Crazy" song, and so he's the opener, and it starts. They had a orchestra of like grade school kids like playing the violin of the music, like, and they're outstanding. These kids are very talented. They're crushing it. He goes to start singing, right? Packed arena. He goes to start singing, and he's wasted. Absolutely fall down drunk. And he starts slurring all the words, and he's off the music completely. I've never seen, like, the mindless dude overdose, but I've never seen a musician, like, fuck up a concert that bad on that big of a scale.
Jesus, yeah.
Packed arena for the Chili Peppers, and he comes out, can't perform at all. So people start booing, and dude, he starts yelling. He's falling on the floor, and he starts yelling, "Fuck you, Cincinnati. I'm not going to get off stage. Fuck the Chili Peppers. Fuck Cincinnati. I'm not leaving." And dude, hundreds of bottles started throwing. Like, people were losing their shit. Like, you can't come to Cincinnati and yell "fuck Cincinnati" to an audience that big.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really don't like his music, but I know he's done some cool things in the past with other musicians. Like he worked with some cool people, and he's probably very talented. But I'm not into his stuff. But between the Chili Peppers doing a great show and seeing an audience come together to get somebody off stage was awesome. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds dope as fuck.
It was a good one. And then, so I've seen Tech Nine multiple times.
Yeah, fuck you for that.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple cities like overnight, just like we're trapping. Let's fucking go to wherever the fuck in the country overnight to see Tech. And compared to any other rapper, like I love rap, but most rap concerts fucking suck because you can't understand a word they're saying.
Yeah.
Like the sound systems are bad, and just the nature of the music at that big of a volume, they just sound like garbage. Like unless you know the words of the song, most of the time you can't understand half of what they're saying.
Yeah.
Tech Nine, complete opposite. He is just so much more talented than he gets credit for. He enunciates so well, and his rhymes are so complex. You could hear everything. Like, just Machine Gun Kelly opened for him. I fucking hate Machine Gun Kelly. Dude, it's just mumble. Just you can't understand a word. Tech gets on stage, you hear everything. It's like hearing either of them, you wouldn't really know how much of a difference it is, but when you heard them back to back, there was no comparison at all.
Yeah.
So seeing Tech, one of the times, I think I saw him in Missouri or something, and it was phenomenal. It was a small crowd in a really nice theater. People were blitzed. There was a VIP line, and for whatever reason, the venue didn't care if you drank on the sidewalk waiting to get in the show. So but as you went into the venue, they wouldn't let you bring shit in. So it was everybody just drinking out of bottles and smoking blunts openly, and they would pass their shit to the next person in line as they went in. And it was just like a party. That's
dope.
Absurd. There were a ton of juggalos there. Everybody's just going wild.
That sounds like some juggalo shit.
It was dope. And then one of the most recent ones I went to that was like a childhood dream. I saw Leftover Crack in Northside with Sarah like a year ago. And they're my favorite punk band, and they're old as shit, and they had every bit of energy that I had watched in their old videos, like fucking people hanging from the rafters, just going crazy, and they killed it. One of my favorite songs, the Atheist Anthem, they were just all out, full speed, and it was awesome. That was a great show.
Them old punk musicians, man. There's some strong olds, man.
Dude,
they got that grandpa strength hard.
And they know how to perform. Like, even if they're not playing the music the best, they perform so strong. The vibe is just so good. Worst concerts, like I said, Machine Gun Kelly. I think I can't remember if it was Dashboard Confessionals or maybe Taking Back Sunday or something like that at one of those big fests, the Van
Warped Tour.
Yeah. That was they played fine, but I hate their music. Real Big Fish was unbearable. I don't know how I ended up listening to that. And then last was Twisted.
That's fair.
Did one of the worst shows I'd ever seen. Yeah. But the crowd was really fun, so I still appreciated it.
Now,
that wraps it.
Before we get into lists too much, I had first I was going to say I was slated to go to a Tech Nine concert last year, and with my mom, and it didn't pan out.
That'd be so much
that was some bullshit.
We'll go one of these days, man.
Quick, so these are some honorable mentions before we get into some lists. Not honorable enough for the honorable mentions, but
things that yours or mine.
Mine.
Okay.
So I was just gonna do this real quick for so this is a band that I guess a whole genre of music that I just didn't like when it was coming out, when I was like, between 5th, 6th through, high school age shit. Fucking like emo music, like My Chemical Romance and like Fall Out Boy and shit. I just never liked them. I could not get into it.
No.
Like Coheed was the closest to emo that I would get.
Pretty close, but it's still
it's progressive emo is how I would.
It's more brutal than the other stuff for sure.
Recently, one of my coworkers really, really liked Fall Out Boy and stuff, and so I just put it on while they were working to make life not as shitty for them. And
I can't stand it.
There are some of them that it's not like I jam to it, but it's like I have fond memories of it because it takes me back to a place in my youth.
I love
some, and it's like, oh man, okay, I can see how that kind of that bops.
Oh, dude, I meant to. I forgot one of my all time like dream concerts I went to, and it wasn't played. I saw Gigi Allen in the Murder Junkies reunion. Gigi Allen's been dead. The punk legend who shit on stage and shoved bananas up his ass. He's been dead, but they had somebody replacing him for the Murder Junkies doing a reunion tour, and I saw them at their last show of the reunion tour. So much fun. The drummer was completely naked. The bar got shut down. The cops raided it. It was so much fun.
That's fucking cool.
It was a good one.
That's a punk show. That's what it should be.
And they're all 55, 60 years old.
Nice.
Fat, naked. Awesome.
Fucking living the dream.
So I'm thinking of the order that makes sense to do the list. Do you want to start off? Do you have any honorable mention bands that didn't make the list, but like you just want to shout out for the hell of it?
No.
I
came up with 10 each, except for so we have a list of we did top 10 rap artists, top 10 metal or non-rap artists, which kind of concludes a lot of it. Top 10 electronic or abstract, and then top most influential. I don't really have a top 10 for electronic because I don't have that. I only got like a 2. Yeah. And then influential, I only put like 3 because it's probably closest. Like it's nothing that I, haven't already mentioned. I listen to so little music.
Oh man. How about this?
Little variety, I guess.
How about this? I'll rattle off my honorable mentions real quick, and then why don't we do it in this order? We'll do our influential, and then we'll do our top rap, top non-metal, top electronic, and then end on our top 5 of all.
Yeah.
So honorable mention bands or musicians that didn't quite make the list, but I have love for. I gotta include Johnny Cash, Hank Williams III, Nirvana, Placebo, Municipal Waste. This one's great. Charles Manson, the album he did with the Manson family. Very influential album to me. There's actually a couple songs that are pretty good, including one called Garbage Dump that could become our Trashcast anthem.
Oh, boy. Good.
We will talk later. It's like he's singing a ballad to a garbage dump. Gigi Allen, for the black metal fans, Echo of Ephrata. I'm saying that wrong for sure because their names are nonsense. MF Doom, Rest in Peace, Mindless Self-Indulgence, Tom Waits, Leonard Cohen, Cannibal Corpse. So those are just my honorable music mentions. And then do you want to do it like this? We'll do influential, you name one, I name one, and we'll go back and forth.
All right, yeah. I've only got 3 on my influential list.
God damn.
And so I feel like I feel like the influential ones, I want to. It's not that I want to justify some, but it makes sense in the scheme of things. First one off the rip, Rush. I dig Rush. It's what got me into the progressive metal kind of thing, and like I listened to them growing up, and then started to like them when I was younger, but then I still didn't really listen to them much until I was in my early 20s, and then I really got into them in a hard way, and I have all their albums, and I listen to them frequently. That's one of the things. It's like if I can't pick what to listen to, I'll put on Rush. Fuck you, man.
I started mine with the Gorillaz. I didn't
say shit about you putting Hank Williams on your list.
No, Hank Williams III is the metal rock grandson of Hank Williams.
It's still Hank Williams.
Dude, Hank Williams got some great shit. All right, whatever. Gorillaz, I still like a lot of stuff they do. They didn't quite make a list, but they were one of the first bands I ever got into, and their all of their art influenced my art a lot too. They were probably what first got me into art really heavy, so they got to make the list.
Give me one more.
Okay, Linkin Park. As much as I'm not a fan, they influenced me quite a bit.
Second one, ICP.
Oh boy.
It formed so many of my friendships when I was a kid. I went through so much of my life knowing, meeting people, I guess, through that group, and it actually helped me get through a lot of personal aggressions and weird shit. Now, I will say I'm not big into anything new by ICP. I don't like most of what they put out lately. And like when I say lately, I mean like over the last 10 years or so. Probably a lot more than that. But their old stuff, I definitely hold a soft spot for. And I don't even listen to it that often, but when I hear it occasionally come on, like if I put my phone on like shuffle all and I hear it, I usually don't skip it.
One of these days we're going to get your Hatchet Man tattoo covered up.
Yeah. I still got my chain.
There were a couple songs, but I could not get into them. But we've talked about it. I think what they did is fucking amazing. They built, like, they started writing their concert flyers on napkins and shit. Like, they built such a movement and I mean, they got on the FBI watch list. Like, yeah. As a gang shit. Like, they built some amazing shit. So as much as I don't like their music, I do have some respect for
they got such little radio play, and they wouldn't show them on TV because they wouldn't record their shit, censored. They did a little bit for a minute, but they were like, this is bullshit, fuck this is dumb.
Right. Do you want to do your last one, and then I'll run through mine real quick?
Yeah. Coheed. Another one that's been super influential throughout my life. After I found out about them, they were on their third album, and so I kind of got to binge those 3 albums and get into it. Every album since that's come out has hit my life in such a weird way that it connects. Some of the themes in the albums reflect things that because it's all written pretty cryptically anyways, because it's supposed to be like this story. So some of it's like to interpret, the things that these people are doing, and to paint that picture without being like, and then he walked to the door and he did this fucking thing. It's left open. But it's always hit in a certain way of like being the thing that I need to hear at that time. And sometimes it's not right away, and it's all, of course it's coincidental. But I feel like every album they put out that comes out, it's like, I might not feel it at first, or there's certain songs that like, I'm not like, that's not really my shit. But then within, 6 months to a year of having heard it, shuffled in with my other songs by them, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
That's another one for sure. I can put on shuffle and just play all and jam to it.
Oh yeah. I will run through these, and I feel like just because we got our lists are a lot of bands, I'll get through these, and then we'll probably have to kind of be quick on our other ones. Is that good?
I'm down with that.
Cool. lasted influential for me, Columbine, this band, industrial band that had no fan base that I know of.
It's you.
Yeah. I wore patches and like sweatshirts of just that said Columbine to high school, and it about kicked me out of school. So very influential. Marilyn Manson for sure. Bunch of good shit, bunch of really bad shit, but very influential. Chili Peppers, Metallica. That was like my first introduction to like more classic metal. Mr. Bungle, Mike Patton is a mad genius. I fucking love pretty much anything he does. And then jokingly, I have to put Sting on there.
Of course.
Because it influenced my childhood. What about top 10 non-rap? You first.
All right.
You just want to do the whole list?
Yeah, let me just run through mine. And you can laugh at me along the way here. Coheed, Mastodon, Between the Buried and Me, Within the Ruins, Rush, Buckethead, Mr. Big, Ronald Yankees, Megadeth, and Cannibal Corpse.
Got a couple good ones.
Got Ronald Yankees on there. You better straighten this shit up.
I don't know that one at all.
Ronald Yankees is more electronical shit. I'll send you some afterward. It's usually chill shit. He's cool as fuck.
Okay, cool. Top 10 non-rap. I hate distinguishing it that way, but it just,
it's easier to do that for
genre.
us personally. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So definitely metal. Cycling Line's probably the band I'm like have the deepest relationship with. Burzum for sure. Even though a bunch of it's garbage, gotta love Burzum. System of a Down makes it on there, but purely out of nostalgia because that was Tony's favorite band. Mm-hmm. So I have all these memories of him singing their songs, and I like a lot of their stuff too. Yeah. But that's a purely like emotional response.
That was some other like when that shit hit the scene, it was like, oh, this changes shit.
It was different, yeah. And it was much more conscious than other metal at the time.
Yeah.
Blinded by Faith, Canadian technical death metal-ish stuff. I know you'd really like them. I've mentioned that.
I think I've heard of them before.
They do some cool stuff. They do some garbage stuff too, but they're cool. Animals as Leaders, purely for the technical value. They're outstanding. This is not a hard top 10. I think I did a couple extra. Leftover Crack, favorite punk band. Sun Devoured Earth is a like black metal shoegaze band, which is a nonsense genre that is like second, third generation black metal, where it sometimes has black metal vocals, but they call it shoegaze because they're so depressed they just gaze at their shoes the whole time. So it's like acoustic guitar a lot of times, and like so sad. It's so sad, and like it'll be like slow acoustic and beautiful noises with someone like howling at like they're being stabbed to death. I fucking love it. Himsa, classic death metal vibe. Metallica just barely gets on just because they were like one of my first normal metal bands. Mm-hmm. Kind of got me into the harder stuff. Black metal, this should have been at the top of the list. One of my favorite, like with Cyclone 9 and Burzum, one of my favorite bands ever is Shining. The most brutal black metal shit ever. So fucking good. And then also Happy Days, Life Lover, and then not black metal, but just regular metal. As They Lay Dying makes it on. I like mostly it's nostalgia.
Yeah, as far as especially like Warped Tour bands go, As I Lay Dying was like up there.
Yeah, I just hate when they had a couple of tracks where they could sing all right, but I only liked most of their stuff without
the instrumental. Was really good. I should mention too, like the Within the Ruins, like. Dude, I got turned onto them by the Ataxia songs, and like I liked the instrumental. I couldn't even tell you what the vocalist sounds like because they offer like 3 other albums without vocals, just the instrumental tracks, and that's what I have. That's what the one I bought because I love that so much more, and it's nothing against the singer. I prefer the instrumental.
Yeah.
Part of it.
I'm with you on a lot of metal. I'd rather it be instrumental than have vocals.
I'm glad you put Metallica on yours because I put Megadeth on mine.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a classic back and forth, like who was harder, Metallica or Megadeth?
It's Metallica, but...
I mean, go fuck yourself.
We learned a lot about each
your
other.
Soul to keep.
All right, top electronics. I know you just got a couple. But.
Yeah, so it's going to be Excision and Datsick.
Okay.
And Dr. P. And Ronald Jenkins makes that one too.
Okay. I'm going to have to check in.
So Excision and Datsick I got turned on to by, and actually Dr. P too. I really didn't get into electronic music much until I was in Canada. And the friends I made up there. Yeah. We would go to different shows together. We went to one show. It was Andy C and Dr. P were the two different. I want to say I always get it mixed up. Those two are both drum and bass.
Okay.
More. Where Excision and Datsick are both like dubstep shit. And usually I don't really fuck with a lot of dubstep shit, but like those two in particular make like really greasy fucking sludgy shit that I fuck with. Yeah,
both of those bands or musicians I don't like, but I would like I've been at a Datsick show. Like their shows are killer.
Yeah.
Like even if it's not like I don't want to listen to their albums, but like as a show, it's great. Like they crush it.
They were a lot of fun to go to.
I would love to go. It'd be fun as shit.
19, you can drink in Canada, and I was getting fucked up and
fuck yeah,
watching that shit or listening to that shit.
For a little while, it got shut down, but I think 1 year they got away with it. You know, there's the closed down subway system under Cincinnati.
Yeah.
There were a couple years they were throwing raves down there.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, they were transporting all the sound system. It was like hundreds of people pouring in, and cops would shut it down right away. But the idea of it would be so much fun, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be so cool. My top electronic, this one's more... one of the only industrial-ish bands I still listen to, but it's one of my... It's really just but he's one of my favorite musicians. Even though I don't like a lot of the music anymore, but Velvet Acid Christ.
Yeah. Fucking dope band name or dope, artist name.
Yeah. And does some brutal stuff. It's like in my opinion, it's the better version of Skinny Puppy for the electro people, but super goth industrial music. He does some like acoustic songs that are like really good, that are kind of like a more evil version of what's that fucking band? The Cure. But I've seen him live too. Very cool dude. Screamer Claus. That's acceptable. If you haven't heard Screamer Claus, go watch one of his videos right now. It's so fucking brutal.
It's so fucking wild. It's
hard to listen to, but so much fun.
Yeah, it's such a bad thing to listen to.
Yeah. But Velvet Acid Christ, most of their stuff's like remixes of Fear and Loathing. Like it'll all be Fear and Loathing samples, or like the albums are called like Fun with Drugs, and like has razor blades and shit. But he does a lot of instrumentals too. And before my grandpa passed, we would always watch the WEBN fireworks at the top of Mount Hope.
Yeah.
Right by your place. And like they had this awesome, my grandparents were rich and they had this awesome condo, and we watched the fireworks, and I always fucking hate the music WEBN picks. And like a year or two before my grandpa died, I was able to convince him, because he was trying to bond with me. He let me switch off the radio, and I would DJ music for the fireworks. And if you don't know Velvet Acid Christ, listen to one of his instrumental tracks called Ghost in the Circuit, and it's one of the most beautiful songs ever. It's just so beautiful, and my grandpa liked it.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It was a good memory.
Did you? I was gonna say, did you do that like when you were a kid? Go up to Mount Hope?
Yeah,
there's definitely a possibility that we were both up there. Yeah,
we probably
did that every year. We went down there 1 year when I was probably in like 6th grade or something.
Would you go up to where that spiral driveway was?
Yep.
Dude, right by the woods there?
Yeah, where they now have apartments.
Dude, that's so... that might have been next door the other way, but we might have been like right next to each other.
You're talking about the little Wilson's Park?
No, it's a different spot. There's a private condo residence spot. It's so close to it.
At the top of Murdoch.
No.
Oh, well, never.
Different way.
Different place.
It's actually on Mount Hope Street. Different spot. But
okay, I know what you're talking about then.
Couple stones throws. Very close. So other electronic favorites, Crystal Castle's one of my favorites. Witch House shit. I love it. That also includes Sidewalks and Skeletons. I've mentioned them on the podcast before because I've almost done their album art a couple times. Didn't shake out, but really like a lot of their music. 9 Inch Nails, mainly for Trent's instrumental stuff. A lot of people hated the Ghost albums, but those albums are beautiful experimental music. Infected Mushroom for the hardcore ravers. That shit goes hard as fuck. Tycho for the super chill, like it's music to take a shower to. Just beautiful droning synths. Very happy. Very, very pretty. Chemical Brothers, those dudes are the fucking best. Massive Attack, beautiful, very sad, beautiful, very fond memories. Effects Twins for the real electronic fans, and then one of my outliers from the industrial days and from Tony is Combi Christ, one of the more brutal industrial bands. Very fun.
I've actually got a Combi Christ album that you ripped for me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Do you remember which one it is?
No, not a clue. It's in a CD case in a box of things.
A jewel case?
Not even. It's in a little sleeve of like a bunch of old CDs that I had sitting up in my parents' attic. I don't think any of the CDs work anymore.
Oh yeah, that Combi Christ is aggressive. Oh, that's fun shit.
Oh boy.
What about we doing it?
Yep.
Top 10 rappers?
Top 10 rappers. Dylon, and Dylon.
Who the fuck is that?
That's a Chappelle Show reference.
I remember. It sounded familiar. I haven't watched those in a while. So good.
Well, so obviously, top #1 rapper, Chaotic Steel.
That's the homie.
That's the homie.
Thanks for listening, man. We really do love your shit.
Go check out some Chaotic Steel. On my list, I got Tech 9, Young Jeezy, Brother
Tech
Lynch.
was my two, yeah.
Busta Rhymes. I got Cage.
Busta's good.
I like Busta Rhymes a lot, especially some old Busta Rhymes. I'm surprised at how well his newer stuff keeps up too.
I just wish he wrote albums better, and I really don't know his discography well. But that's always been my problem with him is he's so fucking talented as a rapper, but I feel like his songs often suck. He's the best feature. There's
one song, one of the newer ones. It's not even that new. One of the newer ones I've heard him do was him and Nicki Minaj. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm not gonna, like, this is gonna ruin my opinion of Busta Rhymes. And it's definitely not my favorite song by him. But I was like, you know what? The beat's dope. And it's got a good.
Just wish she could cut out the refrain.
Sorry,
start your list over. I interrupted you.
No, you're all good. So Busta Rhymes, Cage, Ludacris.
Luda.
I fuck with Ludacris. He's got dope bars for days.
Oh man.
Fucking Cess Crew.
Dude, they are so underrated in talent. They're the same thing. I don't like most of their albums, but purely on those acapella videos they did, they are so fucking talented if they could just get their shit together.
Yeah. Ill Bill.
Yeah, buddy.
I put Gucci Mane. And I don't think that I'm like a huge fan of Gucci Mane. There's just a lot of songs that I like by him. And yeah, it's just good shit. You know, a lot of the influence on my youth.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And Ritz,
I don't like him.
I don't. The thing is,
I want to like him
for technical proficiency. I think he's good. I think he's got enough stuff that I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna put another rapper on here, it's him. It was honestly, it was between him and you know what? I'm now thinking the one I should have put on here instead, Lil Dicky. I like Lil Dicky. It's funny, but it's still like well put together. But I also wanted to take while we're talking about rap, I noticed that the like overwhelming amount of rap songs that I like are produced by Seven.
He does great production.
Yeah. So even some of like he did some of Twisted's work, I think, that some of their newer ones that like I was like, oh, this is dope, and it's like, oh, that's why.
Right.
The fucking Manable Lecter albums and shit like that. Yeah. Like he did those. He
made those albums. Like Lynch's albums almost always suck because they can't make the music.
Yeah.
Like
he even said, man, he's only bringing the hot sauce and the pepper.
Right. You know? Like, dude, they needed Seven to produce those albums. I mean, it just changed Lynch's music so much.
Yeah.
I was like, good. I give you bonus points for throwing Seven in there. I feel like I was going to say something.
That's a good way to find new music. If you like one song by, I just seen a thing somewhere that said this too. If you like one artist or one song by an artist that doesn't sound like any of the rest of their music, like look who composed it, look who produced it and put it together.
Yeah.
Like look up other work that they've done, and you'll likely find other shit that you like.
It's a great way. That and the music map is a great tool too.
Yeah.
My top 10 rappers of all time. I'm starting it off. Aside from Chaotic, I'm going Brother Lynch Hung. That is my dude.
Yeah.
I fucking love him, even though he can't make anything right now.
Right.
I have faith in him, and he just has such a legacy. He's the original Cannibal rapper. That is my dude.
Yeah.
Brother Lynch Hung. Second, I put Tech. Third, I feel embarrassed saying it, but I fucking love the Suicide Boys. They do some great shit. They do some lame shit and are kind of cheesy, but maybe it's just because I'm an addict and a lot of their stuff revolves around that. It works for me.
That actually reminds me. One of the earlier we were talking about like what if you were to show your younger self something, like what would you want to show yourself? I would love to have shown my 12-year-old juggalo self Shake Well. I would have been
my God.
ape shit over some Shake Well.
See, here's the thing with rap for me. I don't know if I've ever liked more than like a handful of rap albums. Like rap albums suck. There's always there's some like a really good rap album will be 50 to 75% good and the rest is garbage. And that's like an amazing album.
Yeah.
So I love so many rap songs or individual tracks by people that never do a good song again. Like I was trying to find like who would be my top 10, and it's so hard to find somebody that consistently does good shit instead of just a one-off. So it's tricky. I love so many and metal. I mean, there's so many like artists I've collected. Like, I don't know. There's just so much music I've collected over the years. And so much of it, it's like they have a couple good songs, but their albums suck. People can't write albums. It's hard.
Yeah. Let me tell you about this album called Thug Motivation 101.
Oh, my God.
I fucking love that album.
That's ridiculous. Who is it?
Young Jeezy. That's his first. Yeah.
I like some Jeezy, though. It's fun. So... fucking Suicide Boys, fucking Death Grips, man. That's my shit. Goes hard as fuck. him live. That was great. Or him, them, whatever. Dude is a performer, does a great show. Fucking love the brutality of his music. Next, I put Ill Bill / Necro because neither of them are that great on their own, but they both have some amazing shit. I like a lot by both of them, but most of it's garbage.
Did I
War
ask
is My
you,
Destiny is one of the best.
Yeah, that's a good one. Did I ever ask you?
Keep on Driving.
Do you know Necro? I Need Drugs.
Yeah, that video is the best.
It's fucking that song in general. It gets me every fucking time.
Dude, I've put that song on so many burnt CDs. It's ridiculous. Ill Bill / Necro. Cool Keith, Dr. Octagon, Black Elvis, Lost in Space. That's my boy. Blue Flowers. Earl Sweatshirt, one of the few younger new dudes that I really respect as a wordsmith, as craft. Vince Staples does some cool shit too, but like Odd Future has some fun stuff, but Earl Sweatshirt was the dude who really is the rapper the best of the group and like of this new wave of rap music. I one of his recent albums, the more abstract one, was really bad, but he's just does some awesome shit. Young Lean, who started as like a meme joke rapper, has really transformed and evolved into a beautiful artist. He does a bunch of garbage shit too, even currently, but he has some beautiful, heartfelt, emotional songs, and he's a real talent. I love seeing what he's doing. Deont Ward, super cheesy, super fun. Saw them live in Chicago. Traveled all the way there, snuck a bunch of Molly and fucking oxys in a peanut butter jar into the city and stayed at the Love Motel, got bed bugs. They do a great show. What can I say? Eminem, just the old classics, you know. I really don't have much to say about Eminem. There's some great shit, a lot of lame shit. But he was one of the firsts, probably for you too, that got us into other shit, right?
Yeah. I didn't listen to him all that much. You know, My Name Is came out.
Yeah.
And that was like, what the fuck's going on here? Because we were kids at the time, so it was kind of like goofy. And then I kind of fell off of it. And then some of his shit it was like too, I don't know, it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard to me.
I feel, man.
Yeah.
I do.
And I can, it's like so much of it was similar enough that like I couldn't get into it. But more recently now I've been listening to more Eminem.
Yeah, I really haven't listened to much of him in years, but he just was so talented. He got me into other shit, other better shit sometimes, but he really is great at his craft. And then last I had Danny Brown, Trap or Die, doing some great, really fun shit, and I just fucking love his personality. He's just such a fun dude to watch do his thing. Real quick, I also somehow missed saying it on my non-rap and metal. I had Hecate Enthroned, one of my favorite black metal bands. I think that wraps up our list, except our top 5. If you could only pick 5, you're stuck with.
5, you can never listen to any other music.
You're stuck. That's all you get.
Just stuck with these.
So there's a lot of strategic reasons we pick what we pick, but this is it. You're on an island. This is all you get.
Buckethead, absolutely.
That's a fair pick.
He has so much music, and it's all so versatile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go Rush. And this is where it gets hard.
Okay.
Because I feel like I would have to pick between Lynch and Tech 9.
I feel like for listenability, you go Tech, but my heart always will say Lynch.
Yeah. That's where it gets hard for me. I think I'm going to go Tech 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once again, it gets hard because it's like, what... I want to say Coheed. I feel like emotionally I like Coheed more. I was going to say between Coheed and Mastodon. were the two. And then that's what breaks it down to the last two that I'm struggling with is last three I'd be struggling with. Is either Lynch, Between the Buried and Me, or Ronald Jenkins. And they're all so fucking different. We're going to listen to Ronald Jenkins after this. Okay. If you don't know who Ronald Jenkins is, look that boy up on YouTube. You will not be disappointed.
See, Lynch made my list, but I also could see, like, my list, I will end up committing suicide in a month if I'm stuck on an island.
Yeah, same. Like, I was going to say, like, I think just by, like, the Hannibal Lecter series and the first gas station mixtape alone, I think I want to go Lynch.
Yeah.
On the last one.
I respect it. I'd say solid pick, sir.
Thank you.
You got it together. My top 5, I did Shining, my black metal. If I had to pick one black metal band, that's going to be it. And then Cyclone, my second, which the stuff I like by them mostly is the later black metal stuff. But those are my two metal. And then I did Lynch and Tech. And then just squeaking by, I did my boys, Suicide Boys.
Yeah, you would definitely commit suicide within a month of it.
Yeah, with this list, I'm not lasting long. Dude,
holding on to some inspirational Tech songs with Chris Calico singing over some shit.
Like, it's fucked. Like, music, I really, in so many ways, I legit feel like it's so cheesy to say saved my life, because it didn't save my life, but it got me through so much shit. Like, so much of the music that I even don't listen anymore was so important and, like, got me through shit. And, like, I was always listening to angry, fucking suicidal music, but it's what I needed at the time. And I think that's a large part of why I struggled to enjoy it the same way. Mm-hmm. Because this list, jokingly, kill yourself in a month. But for real, if you're in a healthy place and you're listening to fucking, like, traumatic, evil shit, it's not good for your mental when it's all the time.
Right.
But when you're in a bad place, listening to shit that's also in a bad place, it feels, misery loves company. It's something to help you through. Right. It's so interesting.
Like a shared trauma kind of thing.
Yeah. So if I'm on an island, I probably didn't do the smartest picks, but that's what my heart connects with. I want to give one more shout out, because I put this on a list and it was buried within it and I completely forgot about it. Shouts out to the Space Jam soundtrack. Oh my god. I'm done with it. Did you see the article about their just this week they revamped the Space Jam? I don't know why I remember these things. Some article I saw. They revamped the Space Jam website and they hadn't updated it since the original movie release.
Oh, damn.
And the new update, it takes longer to load than the original.
Wow.
Like, so much new tech, coding. It's an over bloated website that it loads slower than the original website from the 80s or whatever it was. 90s.
Yeah, that's fucked.
It's pretty funny.
So I used to listen to the Space Jam soundtrack while I played Mario 64.
What a sentence.
That's funny. That's the waveform this week. Just that.
Oh my god. This was fun, man.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Should we get out of here? Call it?
Thanks again for listening. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud. Hold up.
I feel like an asshole. Legitimately, it's not because he's my brother or just because he does our music. My brother John, Approaching Human, legitimately is one of my favorite artists. I feel bad for not including him on a list, but I don't think of him as an artist I go to listen to because he doesn't finish enough fucking projects, and he knows what I'm talking about. You piece of shit, finish an album. But for real, man, I love your music, and I am always waiting for more. I'm your biggest fan. I take back everything I said. You're at the top of my list, and thank you for doing our music.
I was actually going to say the same thing about David.
Yeah,
I
dude,
have such a
oh my
small.
God.
I have
We're
such
gonna
a,
remember so many things we wish we put on.
Yeah, absolutely. I have such a small handful of David's work that's available, and I know he's written
Same.
and done much more. He lives so far away, and I know he's working on recording it and getting it out. But
He's really one of my favorite musicians that I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll include his on our post and stuff.
Why not?
At David Blake Music or something.
Yeah,
I think.
at David Blake Music on Instagram.
Yeah,
and he's also on Spotify and iTunes and all that shit.
Yeah, my brother John is at Approaching Human on SoundCloud.
Make sure you check out the show page at Trashcats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show.
Yeah, and we're kind of trying to make an effort this week. We're trying to get more ears to the show. You know, we love doing this show, and it's a lot of time and work. And if no one was listening to it, we still would be doing it,
right?
Because it's so much fucking fun for us. But if you could spread the good word, that helps us a lot. We're starting to grow a bit, and we want to see how far we can take this thing. Tell your friends, your mom, your dog, your aunties, and your uncles, and let them know that we're out here trying to get our listens up. For real, if you just tell one fellow trash cat this week, it would mean the world to us.
For the price of a cup of coffee.
Trash is for everybody, and we all deserve it. If you're bored, you can check out my shitty art on Instagram at Skyzix. I will say that the Crap Cat just roasted my shit. If you want to make fun of my garbage work, feel free and send in your art to the Crap Cat for some free art critiques.
Right.
Any extra shouts out? Definitely all the bands we mentioned.
Yeah.
We're going to tag them all in our
Every single one.
Dude, that would be really
at Smash Mouth.
Oh my God.
Just that one.
I've got Lynch to reply to a comment or two in the past. He's a trip to watch on there.
Yeah.
So we're going to tag them all.
Yeah.
Tune in next Wednesday. What's our episode on? Freestyle?
Yeah, freestyle. Cool,
That'll
kicking
be
it
a
large
blast.
and shit.
Yeah, dude. Did we decide? We'll talk after, but I'm so excited for that. Our next art one.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Oh my God. I'm very excited. Do you got anything else to say?
Nope.
Okay. That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy. Stay classy. Eat trashy. Go fast. Eat trash.
Bye. I'm actually it's our new intro song.
One of us has to freestyle guitar it at the start of every episode.
Oh, was that guitar? Is that You're so creative.
And to prove their loyalty, they have to get a Trashcats tattoo on their neck.
Now, I was gonna say this is one thing I would be down to get a tattoo of a Trashcats tattoo.
Dude, we're doing
I don't want to
it.
get a neck tattoo.
Yes, you do.
I'll say that. Yes, you do.
Of course you do.